Good morning and welcome to Cultivate. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about ADA compliance with your website. ADA is the Americans with Disabilities Act, and I've heard a little bit of conversation about some recent things that came forth with ADA compliance in websites, and based on some things in the news. And so we wanted to talk a little bit about making your website more ADA compliant. So as it stands on its own, your website will generally work with many of the tools that people use when they need assistance with a site. These usually come in the form of add-ons or extensions to their browser, and so the front end of your website is usually very responsive to those. There's always new technology coming out, and we do our best to keep up with that and make sure that we stay compliant. But there are some things that dealers need to be aware of and that you should be aware of with updating your site. The first thing that I want to point out when it comes to that kind of thing is images. So I'm going to go to just an image on the back end of the site. I'm going to go to Content, Images, and go to my image library. And I'll just click on a random image from here. So I'll click on Default, and I'm just selecting one of the photos that's in the back end of the site here. So we'll start with this logo. For every image on the site, there's alternative text or alt text. Like you see here, it says sample logo. Alt text is what many of these screen reading softwares and screen reading tools use in place of actual images. So sometimes when you're using a product like Zoom Text to really zoom into the screen and see if you need some site assistance, instead of showing a massive image, it will just show the alt text for that image. So it's important to put something that's very readable in your alt text. If you just upload an image and it's something like IMG and a bunch of numbers, that's not descriptive of at all for what you're trying to convey on your website. So it's really easy to think about that in terms of just what it looks like whenever you add an image. But if you just take like 2 seconds and for alternative text, you're able to add something that's just quick and descriptive of what people should be seeing on that image. That's a perfect way to help with ADA compliance. As an added bonus, that also helps with the crawlers that services like Google and Bing use to index your website. So being able to use something that's a little bit more descriptive than just random letters and numbers is also really great for your SEO. So that's something to keep in mind. If you want to save yourself a little bit of time, you don't want to type the alt text every time that you go into the back end of the site and add a photo, make sure that the title of what you're adding in terms of images is going to be descriptive. So again, if it's just IMG underscore numbers, that's not descriptive at all, but if you change the name of that file to something like this, where it's dealer logo black, that's exactly what this is. And so that would be the default alternative text in case you don't put anything in alt text when you add that image. So just something to think about whenever you're adding images. The same applies to those of you that use a sync to update your inventory. If you name those photos before you add them to your business system, then the names of those images will come over and be used as the alt text for those images in your inventory. So that's one way that dealers can help a lot. Another way is to not use any text over images. So some of this is okay because it's text set on top of images. For instance, if you go to the Kubota Digital demo site that I have, we have this text that says get your equipment ready for the season, and it's been overlaid on this image. But the text on this image, like where it says Kubota here or RTV 500 here, that's not going to be readable on any sort of Zoom text product at all. And it's also not readable by Google crawlers. So not to mention that it's a really bad performance on a mobile device. So it's best to have as little text as possible or even no text on an image, and using the tools that you see here to overlay text so that it's nice and mobile friendly. As you can see, it kind of changes as I make my browser window smaller. So yeah. So that's a little bit about images. Another thing that I want to show you and what I want to spend the most of our time on today is a tool at userweight.org. Again, that's userway.org. So when you go to that URL, it brings you here. And UserWeight is basically a widget that provides several different accessibility technologies in one place for users. And it's really easy to set up. And what I want to do is encourage everyone to fill this out yourself because it's customizable to each person. And so it would be great if dealers kind of took on the initiative and added this so you can kind of make it your own. So I'm going to click Get the Widget. It asks for a website. I'm going to put TracTru.com is fine. Agree to their terms. I should also mention this tool is completely free. So that's a really fantastic bonus. This tool isn't costing your business anything to have compliance tools there. So I enter my name and my email address. Then I can choose my preferred icon. I'm going to choose this one here. And you can choose the size and note that it's always going to be smaller on mobile, so that's good to know. I'm going to go ahead and choose the smaller icon here. And then you can choose the color. So I've made this Kubota orange, which is FF6600, but you can pretty much use any, too many sixes. You can pretty much use any hex color that you want for this icon. It kind of gives you the example over here on the right-hand side. So when I go to next, you can choose where you want to place it on the screen. Most sites put pop-ups on the bottom right-hand corner, so that's where I put this one. But as you can see, there's multiple places to put it here. And if you have like a chat feature on your site that's over here, maybe you want this on the other side or even in the middle. So I'll let you select that. And then auto-detect language is fine. This uses the default language that's set in people's browsers to be able to serve them their native language, and so that's obviously the best option. And then, does your website already have an accessibility statement? We do not build this into sites, and so if you have not put an accessibility statement in yourself, then you can mark no or I don't know. And click next. You do have the ability to use custom branding for your widget. I want this to be free, so I chose not at this time. And then the last little bit is it gives you this script here under basic script. All you need to do is copy this and send it to the help desk, and we can get it added to your site. So the help desk email, as I repeat all the time, is kubotahelp@tractru.com. And emailing that will get us this code, and we can add it to your site. It takes mere seconds to get it up and running. And then you can verify it here. Then, I'm going to skip this for now. It gives you an accessibility statement that you can add to your own site. So note that this gives you HTML by default, but if you click clean text here in the top right corner, then it gives you an accessibility statement. It adds in the URL for your site and the month and year that you've done this. And then it's really nice because it inputs your URL everywhere in this document, and at the very bottom it gives them a contact email for any questions about the accessibility tools. So what you can do with this is copy it. Oh, copied a little too much. Let me try that one more time. There we go. And then you can create a new page on your site. So I'm just going to click Create a Page. And I'm going to call this Accessibility. Remember that anytime you create a page, you're going to want the full width template, which is at the very top here under Custom Templates. So I'm going to click Full Width and Done. I want to make sure just a couple of setting changes here for me. And then I'm going to click Create and go to Add Content. So this brings me to a blank page where I can add my usability statement. All you need to do is drag a content block over here, click Create Content, and then paste that usability statement that you just added from userweight.org right here. I'm going to save that. There we go. And now I can publish this, and it's going to be live on my site, and it's going to be accessible at demo.kubotadigital.com/accessibility. So let me click that here. So here's my accessibility statement. This can be indexed and show up in your core search if you so choose. So it's ready to go. And then as you can see, I've already added an accessibility tag here, and so it's added my button to my demo site. So when I click, you can hide this if you need to, or unhide it. And then when you click the actual button, it brings up all of these different tools, like keyboard navigation, so people can use their keyboard to move around. They can change the contrast. It can make text larger. It can space it out a little bit more for people. Stop animations. We don't have too many animations on the site, but if you use a video in your hero carousel, that's a good idea. You have that so people can stop that if the animations bother them. And then you can change this to different fonts here for more legibility, and then you can even increase the cursor size. So lots of different ways for people to use these tools and make your site more accessible to everyone. If you have any questions on how to use this tool, or if you need help implementing it on your website, please feel free to reach out to the support staff. Again, our email is kubotahelp@tractru.com. We're going to build a new help doc that has these exact steps in our knowledge base. And so feel free to visit that. We'll get that published later today, and you'll have that as a reference guide if you need it. Thanks everyone so much, and have a fantastic day.